Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas, and this is Unscripted. Welcome back. It's been a good week. It's been a long week, productive week. A lot of breakthroughs this week, especially in regards to just filmmaking in general. But yeah, first and foremost, I want to talk about, I guess, the art of the pivot. Kind of came to the decision that we're probably not going to make Feel It All Around right now, which is, it's a hard decision to make when you are in pre-production for so long on something and you decide to put it into turnaround and just, not make it. But there's a very valid reason for that. And that reason is that, like, this past week, I kind of talked about it on last week's pod, but I ended up writing another script. And this new screenplay was, I read it with Steven, and we both agreed it's not only better, but it's more feasible to make. And that's the most important thing. It's Feel It All Around was going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of filming in public and traveling, and right now it just doesn't seem like the best decision for us. And that's like kind of filmmaking's just a ton of decisions, executive decisions, and I heard Bezos saying it on a clip, but like, you don't want to spend too much time making a decision, and when you feel like something isn't coming together, it's time to just make a decision and make sure it's informed, make sure it's educated, make sure it's prudent. But like, if you have to make a hard decision of whether to go through with something or this or that, there's so many decisions. Life's full of decisions. But with this film, especially, like, I respect everybody too much to waste their time and vice versa. And we just talked about it, read this other script. We're like, what, fuck it. Like, this is the one that's like, jumping off the page to us right now. And Feel It All Around, like, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I think I wrote it maybe even 6 months ago now. When we were in that time, it felt like the right movie to make. And, times change. And right now, this new movie feels like the right movie to make. And we got a few, on the table. So it's actually exciting because it's kind of like, okay, well, what are we going to make next? What's going to be the next thing we do? And yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing that's been on like the table this week. And then, we were also doing some camera testing. There's some other like technical things that kind of like were breakthroughs in regards to that have just led me to think there's other ways and other reasons to make maybe something else. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing. And also it's just like, anytime you're in like one of these positions of, I wouldn't even call it power, but like a leadership position or a position where you're like working with a team and you're all working to try and get the best result, you got to look at the facts and like be like, hey, like, what's going to save us the most time and how can we get to the solution the fastest? So put your heads together, you'll figure it out. Also, if like, you have a hard decision, like the most time you should wait, in my opinion, is just like sleep on it. And then the next day, like really wake up, because your instinct's probably going to be what you go with. There are other times, if you're ever in a position where you feel scared, like you get like, an ultimatum from somebody, like, honestly, use the power of time. So there, that's different. But like, when it comes to filmmaking, like, you got to be good on quick decisions. But like, when it comes to something emotional, always take time on that. And if that's even like a decision, like, are we going to make this movie or not? You can sleep on it. That's fine. But when you're in the moment, like maybe directing or fucking on set, like, try to think on your feet, and try and make the best decision in the moment. So it's neither here nor there, but it goes both ways. Anyways, yeah, that's the biggest thing. So Feel It All Around for now is, I wouldn't call it getting shelved, but it's in turnaround, and we're going to be making something else, and I'm excited about what we're making. I don't want to talk about it yet because the idea is still fresh and like, drafting, and then there may be some other scripts that I've already written that we're like bringing to the table. So yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, like executive decisions, that's a huge thing. I think like just in general, like, with filmmaking, you got to be adaptable and you have to be able to make changes or like go with the flow. Things don't always work out the way you expect them to work out. And if I've learned anything about filmmaking, it's that you're going to compromise. You're going to compromise constantly. And like, that's another hard truth you have to realize, is that what you imagine it's going to be, what you wrote it to be, what it ends up being, it's never going to be exactly what you want. And there are moments where it is like, it's funny, I'm in my studio and I have Peninsula Nights in the background. It's just on right now. And I'm watching the scene where Tom and Bella meet again and the car pulls up and drops them off. And like, honestly, this is one of the shots where it was like pretty fucking close to what I imagined would happen. Like there are moments. So I don't want to, say you can't get what you want on set. But like, yeah, there is a tremendous amount of compromising in film. And like, it's a maturity thing. You learn to make the best decision to get the best result out of the situation. And yeah, it's just, it's more of like directing advice, but also life advice, just be able to make decisions and be able to make the hard ones fast too. It's never easy. Trying to think of what else I was up to this week. A lot of camera testing. I'm really excited. Got some new gear for my birthday. My birthday's Monday, so I'm stoked on that. It's crazy. I was watching the news, and a few things I saw about like just Hollywood shit in general. I saw that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to do this like Marvel movie, and apparently his deal is crazy. They're going to give him $200 million to be in this new movie. I think he's playing like Dr. Doom or some shit for the first two movies. No, it's $100 million for the first two. But if he continues to do the movies, he could get up to 200 mil, which is fucking insane. And it says he's already brought in $600 million from doing these Marvel films over the past, 10, 15 years, however long they've been making these fucking things. So that's a ton of cash, just as it is. I mean, this is going to bring him close to $1 billion. And then it says, on top of that, he's getting a private jet. Like, they bought him a fucking jet, an entire trailer encampment. So I imagine his whole family, his entourage, whoever the fuck he wants to be there will be there with him. And then 24/7 security, which is understandable. I mean, I'm sure even on a set like that, there's crew members that are like, I want to meet Robert, or they fan out, it's Iron Man, so, and just those type of fucking people that, are all about these movies, they're in love with the characters. They're in love with, I get it. It's a big IP. And yeah, I guess people are upset about this though, because mostly people are upset about the jet because of the carbon footprint and shit. But it's like, hey, like, I personally think like at this fucking point, like this is probably the only way this guy can travel. If people want Marvel movies and they want Robert Downey Jr. in them, might have to accept he's going to fly on a private jet. I don't really see the big deal. I don't think it's that big of a deal at all. But yeah, he's going to hop on that PJ and he's going to bring it down. You know what's funny too is like I see the Russo brothers are directing it and they're making $80 million. It's a lot of money, but $80 million to Robert Downey Jr.'s 100 for two guys. I don't know. I mean, I guess it pays to be in front of the fucking camera to say the least. But yeah, unbelievable. And also like, I know I'm poking fun, but like Robert is, he's a fucking movie star. Talk about a hell of a comeback. This guy went from like all that shit that happened in his past. And I don't think he enjoys people talking about that, but like kind of is what it is. And he's like just this fucking superstar. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I've been watching Oppenheimer a little bit more often now. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know, like wasn't really that into it. And I was telling Stevie this, like, I think the sign of me liking a movie is like when I first see it, I'm like, I don't know, like it's okay. And then anytime I say that about a movie, I end up like watching it later. I'm like, oh, I fucking like this a lot. So it's a new metric for me. And it goes both ways. I saw Top Gun and The Batman, and I thought they were fucking great off the bat. Like I remember calling fucking people, like, yo, you got to go see this thing. But yeah, it's just funny. Just saw this other movie and I thought like, oh, I didn't like it that much, but it's going to end up being something I enjoy later, right? Oppenheimer. And that happened with a Complete Unknown. I just watched it on Hulu. I saw Timothy do his little speech. I don't know if it was at fucking SAG or I think it was at the SAG Guild Awards or whatever, right? Screen Actors Guild Awards. And he had a little cocky speech. That's what people were saying when I saw him do the speech. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like I thought he had like the balls to go out there and say it. I thought it was cool. But my parents, like they heard it and they were like talking to me the next day and they're like, that Timothy Chalamet, he's awfully cocky. And I'm like, you know what? Like that made me respect him more. I think Hollywood needs some people that are going to go out there and be like, I want to fucking be not just good. I want to be fucking great. And I respect him for saying that. Also, like, our age is pretty close. I think it's just maybe like men of our age and our upbringing. Like that's maybe just like I don't know, maybe that's just the messaging or like the way we're feeling right now. Like, hey, like we don't want to just phone it in. We want this shit to be really good. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool he said that. And anyways, back to A Complete Unknown, I saw it and, I was kind of like, it was good. Like middle of the road for me. I was like, I liked it. There was some cool shit. There's like a reference to Monterey Fairgrounds. They had like the Monterey Folk Festival or whatever. And it's like the festival that Joan Baez threw. And it was cool to see that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, obviously it wasn't really Monterey, but like they did a great job set dressing this and making it look like fucking Monterey. And Anyways, I watched it and I was like, yeah, I was like, it was good, but like, I don't know. And then like I watched it again and I was just like, oh, I noticed. I'm like, oh, that song from the beginning they play at the end. And I saw like the foreshadowing and I saw like how good the script was. And I really felt it like, and it's like, it's a long, kind of a longish movie. So like sometimes the first watch is always like, you're kind of just taking it in. You don't like get a chance to pause it when you're watching it. Like if you're in a theater, I mean, I was watching it at home, I could pause it, but like if I missed a beat, I was like, well, this is the first time I'm seeing it. I'm just going to let it ride. So anyways, on second viewing and then even like third viewing, I've gone back. So obviously I like it for some reason. I'm not just like saying like, oh, I hated it. And like, now I have to watch it again. It was like, I watched it, thought it was okay. And then I started talking to like people. I'm like, I thought it was okay. And then I went back and like, I really like sincerely, like I enjoy the movie now. And like, I appreciate it for what it is. And also it wasn't what I expected. And I think that's the thing. Like when I see a movie and I'm like, I don't know, I thought it was okay. I think it's because it wasn't what I expected it to be. And that's okay. Sometimes when it's not what you expect it to be, it subverts your expectations. And I think that's the most important thing is like, it's a surprise. And then you can kind of like build on that after you're like, I guess it wasn't what I thought it was. Maybe I liked it. And then you grow to like it. So it's just an interesting perspective, I guess. But it's funny. That movie was really well shot, really well acted. I get why, Timothy really got into character. I guess like another thing about it is he had worked on the movie since like, I think it was delayed because of COVID. So yeah, he had been like trying to be Bob Dylan and like, he did a good job playing Bob Dylan. Like he felt authentic. He knew the music, but like, I get why he put so much of himself into this fucking character to be Bob Dylan. And it's funny. My mom actually made a comment to me because I told her, like, you got to watch this thing. Cause like whatever, she had seen that thing where he talked like all cocky at the award ceremony and she watched it and then said like, oh, you know what? Like, I think at the award ceremony, he was still like kind of in character because he had like that Bob Dylan kind of like in the movie, Bob Dylan's young and I don't think he's even like super egotistical. I think he's just like a young guy feeling himself. And he's like, yeah, fuck, like I'm the new rock star kind of, that's the vibe you get. And it's a very specific point in time in his life. It's like kind of like his first maybe 4 or 5 years of fame. And you just see the slice of life of kind of like Bob Dylan on his way to stardom. But yeah, I definitely think when she made that comment, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, it was like when Austin Butler couldn't stop talking like Elvis. Love the guy, but it was like, dude, you are fucking still in character. You've embodied him. He's like, hey, I'm fucking Austin Butler, whatever. And it's just funny. So like, I think when you do invest in, and those are similar characters, Austin Butler's Elvis to Timothy Chalamet's Bob Dylan are, it's not a far cry. They both embodied them. They both performed their music, and they truly became them. And I think this guy, James Mangold, that directed A Complete Unknown, also directed Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic, which is also fantastic. And Joaquin Phoenix, like, he's pretty revered for those recordings that he did. I think a lot of people sometimes say, like, hey, they're as good, if not better, than Johnny's versions of his own original music. So yeah, it's cool. Like the recordings that Timothy did of the Bob Dylan stuff, I listened to him even on YouTube after, because anytime you see a movie about an artist, like you get into the artist for that period of time. You're like, hey, like, you know what? I'm feeling Bob Dylan. I'm feeling Elvis. I'm feeling Johnny Cash. And yeah, it was like his recordings like that he did for the movie. Like, I get it. Like, you really like, I think until somebody's done a role like that where they're recording, like, it's not just a re-recording it and being this person. You're playing a famous person, living or dead. It's weird to just, it's somebody you're probably already familiar with. It's somebody so famous, deeply ingrained into just like culture and American culture and songs you probably just, like when you hear a song like Don't Stop Believing, you're like, this song has just always fucking existed in my life. There's never been a time Don't Stop Believing didn't exist. And that's kind of like what it's like to play like Bob Dylan or Elvis or Johnny Cash. Like, this music is just so timeless and old, and yeah, it must be strange. So I get why they are like so attached to him, and sometimes it might be hard for them to let go of the character. But yeah, just a little thought on that. I'm trying to think of anything else I watched this week. I finished Eastbound and Down, with Danny McBride. I kind of revisited it. I'd seen the show when I was younger, like episodes here and there, but I never watched it, head to toe. And it was so good, dude. I've been watching Righteous Gemstones, so Danny McBride has come back up on my radar. And revisiting the show, like the message he like portrays, he has like his character, Kenny Powers, washed up like ex-pitcher, baseball player, and he was in the major leagues, and then he gets washed up and he comes back to his hometown. The best job he can get is like PE teacher, and his life's kind of fucked up. He blew his shot by being an asshole and fucking around with drugs and alcohol and prostitutes and shit. So anyways, in the show, his like arc is like he tries to like rein it in and become the man that he wants to be to get the girl and blah, 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 blah. But like he is obviously using the baseball player that's washed up as a way to like channel his like own personal like relationship with like getting famous and stuff. And there's like a lot of like, just a lot of parallels to like even my own life that I'm like, I hear this shit. Cause like the character Kenny Powers, as much as he is a fucking baseball player, he's like clearly interested in like the entertainment world. Like he does shit like audiobooks, which would like, if it was like a modern version of the show, he'd be just podcasting this shit. But yeah, it was just so relatable. So many of the messages in the show. And if you're looking for something to watch, it never hurts to go back. And Eastbound and Down, like it was, I thought it was more relevant than ever. And it was just such a fucking good show. It was so funny, irreverent. They do not give a fuck about what they're saying. It's offensive, but within reason, you know, and it's just good fun. Like, you know, I think Danny McBride, he's not there to hurt people. It's offensive in the sense that like when you hear it, you're just going to laugh out loud and be, I can't believe he's saying this shit. But like, it's always good natured. It's always good hearted. And I don't know, it just shows you once again, like, cause I've been watching Righteous Gemstones. The last season's airing right now. It shows you so much like what his brand was and like, not his brand, but his brand of comedy and humor and his team and the writers and the directors. They have a, not only a, what do you call it, like hive mind shared vision, but a consistency. Their humor that they were writing and delivering then, and even Danny McBride's character of Kenny Powers is who he's pretty much been playing throughout his whole career, but like able to turn it and make variations of it that are just original enough and like great characters. But it's just funny to see the continuity between then and now. They've truly done a great job. And like, I think it's really, really like one of the better decisions HBO ever made was picking these guys up because they make just this weird, dark, funny shit that, you know, it probably shouldn't even exist, but like they gave them a chance and it's its own brand of just humor and comedy. And I love it. You know, it's fearless storytelling at its best, unrepressed, and it's just fucking good, you know? So if you're looking for something to revisit, I mean, Eastbound and Down, I've been loving it. Also, yeah, honorable mention again, the studio. They been airing it every Wednesday on Apple TV, and I fucking love this show. Yeah, the fourth episode was great. They kind of do this like kind of quirky like film noir driven episode where Seth Rogen and his character Matt Remick and then this other guy Sal, they have to find a missing reel of film from a film shoot, and I won't ruin it, but like it's just a good show. If you're looking for something that's like lighthearted, but also like a nice social commentary satire on like Hollywood and the film business, you know, he nails it. It's just cool to see like Seth Rogen. He's just continued to get better. And this character he plays is just, he's like neurotic and self-depreciating, but also just, he loves movies. And it's funny because it's just like, he's almost like what everyone feels like, I think, when they get into the film business. He just like, you know, he does it for the love of the game. And I don't know, if you're looking for something else to watch, that's really good too. But anyways, yeah, this week was a big decision to kind of pivot and go to, like I said, this new script. I'll have more to say about it. I'm not trying to be like secretive or like mysterious, but yeah, like wrote it really quick, like 3 or 4 days, knocked it out. It's just an idea, like kind of like, you know, you get the lightning bolt and you're like, oh shit, like I think I can just start writing this. And like that's what happened. And it was quick. It was fun. I had fun writing it. I think it's humorous and it has a nice like personality to the script that's like a little less, I'm not even saying serious. It's like dramatic, but it's also like, you know, friendship driven. There's comedic beats. It's just something, you know, it's just more like what I think like just kind of like freestyle. I really didn't write it with any like outline. Typically I don't really outline or any of that shit. I just fucking sit down with the idea. When I get it and it clicks, I'm just like, all right, I'm ready to write. And it happens, you know, God only knows. But anyways, that was really like, you know, the big pivot of the week as we started reading it. We're like, you know what, this is fucking better and it's more fun. And I think it's just the right thing to make right now. And like I said, there's a few other scripts we're considering, but I think this is one we're going to probably end up greenlighting and going with. But yeah, I think it's the right decision to say the least. You got to be able to improvise in, you know, filmmaking. It's like jazz. But anyways, guys, it's late. It's late on Saturday night, and I just wanted to squeeze this one in. I was going to save it for tomorrow or Monday, but it's like tomorrow's the day before my birthday, and then the day after is my birthday, and I'm just going to be busy, and it's like, fuck it. So anyways, I'll catch up with you guys next week. This is Devin Thomas with another episode of Unscripted. See you guys next week.